Hello, how are you? How is everybody? Let me know. Thank you so much for joining the masterclass. If you can drop me a note and let me know where you're watching from in the comments, that would be absolutely amazing. And if you can go to the Q&A section and let me know, like, what's your biggest questions that you have on how to use AI, so I can take a look at those. I'm super excited to share with you all today, and we are ready to get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation with you all. I see New Jersey's in the house. Hola todos. Mexico's in the house. Hey, Jerry. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So this webinar today is how to leverage AI and get more clients. My name is Claire Soares. I am the founder and CEO of Up in the Air Life. I'm super delighted to have you all join us today. In this masterclass, we're really going to dive into the transformative power of AI and how it truly can revolutionize your business and your operations. So whether you're looking to do branding, captivating content, do social media, or just straight, make things easier and do more with less, you're in the right place. So my name is Claire. My influence and impact has been recognized by top tier publications and media outlets, including USA Today, Condé Nast Traveler, Ebony, and Essence. I've shared my expertise at esteemed institutions like the World Bank. I also taught at the FBI, and I've been featured at premier travel conferences like the American Association for Travel Agents. I truly believe that you should find a life that is truly worth living and spend as much time as possible doing the things you love and less time working. And when I started learning AI, it was truly powerful for me because I have a big team. So it really put the pressure on me and the excitement on me to really do more with less and free up a lot of our time. So hustle and flow. Let's look at some of my stats. My background is in sales. I worked at SAP over 13 years before I resigned. I was always in the top 10% of performers, always making President's Club, which is the top achievement of a salesperson. I also secured one of the largest deals of the company, which was over $3.4 billion with the federal government. I did all the presentations, worked on the RFP. So my background is in sales, marketing, and customer service. At Up in the Air Life, which is one of the few first companies that I started, we've had a monthly goal at one point that was over 700,000 that I'm truly inspired and proud of. We've also had our highest day being over $300,000. So I know how to launch, I know how to sell, and I'm super excited to share strategies to get there faster using AI. So what is my why? As I told you before, I really believe in living life to the fullest. As an entrepreneur, I know we push ourselves extremely hard, and I really want to help other entrepreneurs find more joy in your life, also finding more free time. So AI is going to be very critical for you to learn how to use so you can save money, you can teach your team to do things faster, and also just free yourself up to go hang out on the boat, learn how to sail like I am, or do whatever it is that you want in your life. My friends often call me MacGyver, and ever since I've been young, I wanted to teach. And so I'm super excited to be able to have time now after 10 plus years of entrepreneurship to go back and teach people the skills and the lessons that I was never taught. And so you can skip those road bumps yourself. All right, so this is today's agenda where we're going to go through in detail about how to use AI, but I'm going to break it down so it's way easier for you to understand. So what is AI? So AI is actually a part of our everyday life. It's been around forever. Many of you may not know AI is also used in Siri, Alexa, Netflix. Anything that is suggesting you may like this, they're using some type of predictive data analysis to basically recommend those things to you. AI essentially is a robot that is taught to learn over time. For most of us, when we grew up, when we were asking a computer questions, it was very one-dimensional. Like you can say, I'd like to get this piece of information. And then if you had to ask a question again, you'd have to repeat the same question over. With AI, you can start talking about a topic and then you can build upon that topic without starting over because the computer is learning with you. What's interesting is I studied computer science in school, and one of my senior projects was I had to program a computer to learn how to play chess and get better. And so it's very inspiring for me to get back into tech and to see now that, computers can do way more than just learn how to play chess. So there are so many ways to use AI, but let's talk about, there's 100 ways on this slide. I want you to take a second and look at them. Some of the really cool ways that I use AI are things like recipes. If I have certain items in my fridge, I may type them in and get some ideas for recipes that I want to make. I also use AI every day to write email responses. So I can just literally paste in what someone has sent to me. I can use AI through my email program as well as ChatGPT to generate a draft response for me. We also use AI at Up in the Air Life to generate SOPs. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. There's other tools that I do recommend that you use with AI, and we'll talk about them later. But for now, I want you to write down fireflies.ai. And Harvin, if you can drop our referral link in the chat, that would be great. Fireflies is a tool that literally records your conversations. So basically, any webinar you are on, it will join your Fireflies and it will record the conversation. It will take notes for you, capture the full transcript, action items, and everything. Well, you may be wondering, well, how do I use that? Well, if you have the transcript of something, you can basically push that back into AI and have it generate all type of information for you. And we'll talk about that in a second. So the power of AI. I love power. So let's talk a little bit more in detail. Planning. So just like Ghost plans his nightclub and all his other activities, you can use AI for planning. We use it to plan our launches. So some ideas is we look at booking data. We'll give the AI our booking data to show it, hey, here's our sales for the year. Based on that, we'd like to do another $250,000. What do you recommend? And then it will look at the data and say, okay, well, Egypt's your top selling trip. And based on that information, it may say, well, you should do a campaign for Egypt and you should do a campaign for Ghana or whatever it's going to recommend. Then from there, we can ask the AI more questions on ideas for the campaign, thoughts and ideas, also share information about the clients and things like that. But that's how you can use it for planning. Predicting is quite exciting. So just how Tommy, he's able to predict what the rivals are going to do. AI can also look at your data and guess what might happen in the future. So again, looking at bookings, looking at financial transactions. For instance, if it analyzed our data, it will know that our largest sales are typically around May and June. So if I know my largest sales are around May and June, I need to actually look at, well, what did I do in May and June? Well, did I have a marketing campaign? So again, AI can tell you, okay, here's your top sales. It'll also recommend what it thinks you should do, as well as predicting projections. So when you're a solo entrepreneur, it's really helpful because it can start to help you in ways that you don't have an expert on your team to help you build those different things. Okay, awesome. And then organizing, just how Tasha keeps track of the money and the operations, AI can also help you organize and manage your business. So we're going to talk more in detail about SOPs, but how we use it is that you can use AI to give you a list of sample SOPs that you need from your business. Then you can actually have it write draft SOPs. And then to take it further, how we use it is we record someone explaining the SOP We use fireflies that are in the meeting recording the transcript, and I'm going to show you this. Using fireflies, I then can create an SOP based on the recording. And to take it even further, if I already have an SOP that says how the SOP should be written, I can also give ChatGPT that example to then have it format that SOP in the same format. So if you didn't get that, let me know in the chat. But the power is just, it's unlimited. And I think one of the beautiful things about AI is there really is no user manual. No one knows the full potential. It is ongoing as we go. And you'll know as you keep thinking about ways to use it, it's extremely powerful. One thing I will make of note is that Notion, how many people are using Notion? If you can let me know in the chat, how many people are using Notion? Say Notion here, wave. Say, let me know if you use Notion by typing Notion. If you're using Notion, Notion now has an Ask AI feature. I will show you that at the very end. That means that Notion can actually build ChatGPT responses solely based on the data that's in Notion. So let's think about this. I have a travel company. I have all my itineraries in Notion. I have all my SOPs in Notion. So that means that I can ask AI to build an email to a client based on my SOPs, also based on Notion. So let's say a client said, hey, I want to get a refund for a trip. You can ask Notion to actually build the email to the client based on the processes. So what does that mean? It means when I hire new people, it's way faster for them to generate responses because they can validate their responses based on our data. Typically, when you're in ChatGPT, one of the things people complain about is that my responses are generic. I'm not getting the right thing. I'm going to cover that today. But because Notion has the AI built in it, you can restrict your data based on the answers that are in your Notion. I'm going to flip to the chat really quick because I am curious how many of you guys do use Notion today? All right. I see one person. Anyone else use Notion? All right. Perfect. All right, great. So we'll talk about that a little later. So how do you get more clients? So super simple thing about getting new clients that a lot of times we overthink. Number one, if you have a business, you need to be clear on who your client is. So what is your client like? What are their challenges? And what keeps them up at night? That's what you need to know. What are their pain points? Because if you know this, then your copy, your powerful message in your copy should clearly articulate to them that you are the right business to work with. For example, for Up in the Air Life, for years, our tagline was, we plan, you travel. That was great. We did millions doing that. We made a critical change to our website that changed everything. We changed our tagline at the very top of the cover page to say, bougie travel, no planning. When we made that one change and changed our copy to really center on bougie travel and the challenges that our clients would tell us that we're on trips, it really increased our conversion rate. Why? Because people that like our luxury trips, that want to spend the extra money, have been called bougie before. That is a word that they can relate to. Their friends have called them bougie. So when they see the website, they immediately are like, oh, this is me. You're talking to me. Save my coins, go on this vacation. I want to go on this bougie thing and have the high life. So again, making sure you are clear on who your client is, what they like, what their challenges are, and that needs to be in your messaging. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. The last part is creating really great stories. Whether if you're building a brand and you are the face of your brand, then of course, you definitely want to share stories on your Instagram or wherever you are, share photos so people can connect with you if you are building that brand. No matter how old we are, we really, really love a bedtime story. And vulnerability indeed builds connection. So sharing stories about your experience, about your brand, and why you created the company is really going to connect people with you. Okay. And so when you take those things together, this is what is going to make really great website copy, email copy, and also blog copy. Okay. All these different things, you pull them together. And last but not least, making sure that you have a product that fills the void. So what are other brands that are offering the same thing you are offering? What are they missing? What is going to wow your clients? For instance, for us, I wanted to add food and wine as a focus. So all of our meals include wine pairings. There's not really many other companies that are including wine pairings in every meal. So looking at the competition, doing what others will not do, and filling that void and making it crystal clear to your customers, this is who we are. So we are very clear when people contact us. We are the most expensive. Here's why. Here's what we do. And here is the clients that choose us. This is why. So they can easily identify if they should be in or out of your product or whatever it is you're selling. Does that make sense? All right. Perfect. Before we move forward, I do want to find out in the chat, what type of business do you have? I think we have a poll. Harvin, can you drop the poll? Looking to know, what type of business do you have? Do you have a travel business? Are you selling services? Tell me more about the type of business that you have. And you can just go ahead and drop that in the chat. So let me know. Do you have a travel business? Are you selling online products? Are you a course content creator? Tell me more about what you're doing in the chat. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know in the chat, what type of business do you have? I see. Okay, virtual assistant services. Anybody else? Okay, I see the poll coming. Okay, we got 50% travel, service, business, education, coaching. Fantastic. All right, I'm going to go back to my presentation. Okay, now the $1 million question that people always want to know is, they want to know, how can I get AI to not be generic and sound very robotic? So let's talk about the Claire method. Whenever you're using ChatGPT, the first thing you want to do is choose the type of expert it should leverage. So for instance, if I'm writing website copy, you should tell it you're an expert writing website copy. That's the first thing you should tell it, so it knows who or what type of expert it should be using, right? Second thing is lay out the problem. Talk to it like you were a consultant. My name is Claire. I'm the CEO of Up in the Air Life, and I need your help to generate some captivating Instagram post, because we want to sell the trip and we want to make $150,000. As much detail as you can. Let it know the result you want, and then ask ChatGPT to ask you clarifying questions. This is where a lot of people are missing, right? Number one, they're not telling it what type of expert to be. And then number two, invite it. So let it know, hey, go ahead and ask me some questions that you need to be able to achieve the result that I want. It's then going to ask you questions. And then once you get that back, you always want to make sure that you are relating your results to a personal story if you're doing content. So if we're writing email copy, it generates the email copy. You then need to tell some stories, some personal stories, and ask it to incorporate those personal stories in your responses. That is literally what's going to change the game for you, because it's going to take the structure of that email, of that website copy, and then it's going to add that personal story so that it will feel very unique. Now, the last thing is to evaluate it and refine the response. Now, for those of you that are content creators or you have transcripts of yourself speaking, you can actually train ChatGPT to speak in your voice. And I'm going to show you that today. And if you don't have that, don't worry. I'm going to tell you how to do that. That way, when you are writing email, that way, when you are writing copy, it sounds like you. That is the secret sauce of what people are doing to leverage AI and move faster. So let's get started. So I'm going to start a live session, and I'm going to reshare my screen. Before I start, if there's any burning questions, let me know. I see there's travel. All right. Travel services. Okay, perfect. I think everyone can see the Q&A chat. If you go into the Q&A chat, if you have questions, you can drop them there. For those that are VIP, you know we'll be having a Q&A after the call. If you want to hop on the Q&A for the VIP, Harvin will drop the link in the chat if you'd like to add it. We are having a private session after this. You can ask me anything you want, and we'll go through whatever you'd like to go through during that time. All right, great. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to go into a live session. All right. So this is my ChatGPT page. One thing I want to mention is when using ChatGPT, there is a free version and then there is a paid version. I highly recommend the paid version. The paid version is going to give you more ability to upload information, upload longer data sets. It also has a faster response time. I'm not going to go through how to sign up for ChatGPT, but it's very straightforward. You can go to chatgpt.com, you can sign in, and you can start. On the left-hand side of ChatGPT, it essentially is keeping like a list of all your chats. So what's super cool is that once you have a chat that you like, you can basically save this chat by clicking share, and that will give you a link. And then once you create that link, you can go back to that chat. Now, you may be wondering, well, what am I going to do with that? Well, what we do is that once we train ChatGPT to speak like Claire or speak like the copy on our website, then we can open up that same chat and quickly generate new web pages, new product pages. Don't worry, going to show you that in a second. All right, so in order to get ChatGPT to be as close as possible to you and what you need, there's a few things that you need, and I'm going to drop them in the chat. So the things that you need to get started, number one, you need your product description. So for me, that is already on the web. I'm going to talk about our Greece trip. So we already have the product description, meaning we have a write-up of our itinerary somewhere. If I sell boxes, you've got a document or a page that you can copy that has all the details of what people get when they buy your box. So you need to start off with that. The next thing is differentiators. We happen to have our differentiators on this page, but otherwise a document that lists what you're selling, what the differentiators are, and anything about your brand. And then lastly, the client problem. So this can be in multiple documents, or to simplify it, just put all this information in one document. You need that before you get started because you want your results to be very exact. All right, so first prompt we're going to do is I want to train ChatGPT to write some email sequences for me for that Greece trip. So For those of you in VIP, you will get all the prompts in a document. If you're not in VIP, you can upgrade. All right. So the prompt is, I'd like you to review this transcript for the style and tone of Claire Soares. That's me. And then here's a sample transcript of my speaking style. Now, what you want to get is, if you're using Fireflies, it's free. Fireflies will record you speaking. You can speak for like 30 minutes on a topic, talk about yourself, talk about your business. And then that transcript, I'm going to grab mine. You're going to simply paste that transcript here so it can review your style. So now it's reviewing a whole transcript, and then it's going to analyze my style. Claire, your style is warm, you're engaging, you're personable. Here's some key elements, okay? Now that it knows my style, it then can write things for me, okay? So first thing we're going to do is email sequence this. So the prompt we're going to use is using the Claire method. We're first going to tell ChatGPT who you are. So as an email writing expert. Now I will say this, you may not know the proper term if it's a marketing strategist or a web copy expert. Just say you're an expert in doing this. You are an expert as email writing expert. I need you to help me, tell it what to do, write an email sequence 3 for a trip to Greece listed below. And then, by the way, I want you to use colorful emojis too. Now, once I do that, I then need to copy my product information. For me, I already have it on the website. A lot of you guys do already. So I can just select everything from my website, Control A, and Control C to copy. That's all I'm doing. I'm copying the whole web page, and I'm going to paste it in here and let ChatGPT look at it. Now it's going to review all that information, and voila, I have my first draft of my email sequence. Okay? It's using all the information that's already on my website to create this. You guys with me so far? How cool was that? Did you guys already know how to do that? All right, now let's make this better. The next thing you can do is, if you're doing anything in ChatGPT, ask it who the experts are in doing something. And based on that, you can channel that expert to make your content better. So, who are the best experts in writing email? And now it's going to check. Anne Hadley, number 1. Joanne Wybe. Ben Settle. So again, now it's telling me the best people that it believes on writing email copy. So now I can tell it to, since Anne's number 1, well, pretend you're Anne Hadley, create a more detailed content in the email sequence by incorporating more information for, I'm telling it now, a luxury traveler who loves food and wine who may like to purchase this trip. Write email 1 again. So what we'll do is just go back to email 1 so you can see what email 1 originally said. So here you can see email 1 originally. So one thing that you have to do is definitely refine when you're working with ChatGPT. We got the first cookie cutter response. Now we're channeling some experts or someone who we like, or even yourself. If you have wrote your own email copy, you can literally paste that in and say you want it to recreate this in that similar style. Okay. So now we have this. Are you ready to embark on an unforgettable journey from ancient ruins? And you can see Athens. Now let's see what it came up with for Anne. Once it channeled Anne. And now you can see it's updating this email and it's providing more detail because now I said use and, so it's making a tweak in her style. But I also said for a luxury traveler who likes food and wine. So now you can see it's embellishing this to focus on food and wine specific to each day in the trip. This is really, really important because you need to poll your clients and find out why they're booking with you. And so when you're building your content, if someone says they like booking with you because, you know, you go to all the best shops or your trips are very active, focus and go hard on that in your content so you're connecting with that traveler. Okay, so now you can see I have much more rich emails and I can have it write all the emails over again. Now, let me show you one of my biggest tricks, NLP. NLP is Neuro-Linguistic Language Programming. This is where if someone is using NLP, the difference is, and I'll just show you the first sentence. Day one says, welcome to Athens, settle into your luxury hotel. So we're going to ask it to update this email using NLP, and I'll explain the difference because once you see it, you're going to get it. NLP basically will change it so it's writing, so people will literally start imagining themselves in that location. Okay, so it's a little bit more detailed and it's more descriptive. So it's a difference between saying, hey, we're going to go on this Greece trip and we're going to go to this really nice hotel, to like imagine yourself savoring exquisite Greek cuisine, sipping fine wine. So it's forcing that person to literally read the email and now they're literally imagining themselves. That's NLP. Write your emails with NLP, especially for travel, and it really channels in on that emotion, So if I say from the moment you arrive, every detail is curated, there's going to be rich flavors, settle into your hotel, join us for this dinner. It's really pushing people to imagine that. So NLP is the last thing you'd want to do. One thing to remember when you are using ChatGPT to write this content, slowly refine. You don't want to throw all your prompts together. Start by training it, then walk through what you want it to do. And then we also can ask it, ask me additional questions that you need to build better content, better emails for me. And then I like to say, ask me one at a time. All right. So now it's going to ask me more questions, one at a time. You can use this email sequence. Let's see, if you have your trips, you can ask people to download a brochure or get on the wait list, and then you can set up an email sequence that leads to inviting them to buy the trip. So now if you ask ChatGPT to ask you questions that's saying, what's the primary goal you want to achieve, generate bookings, and I want to generate bookings and build excitement for my wait list. We're not talking about launch today, but in my course, in my luxury travel advisory course, I am teaching you how to basically launch your products. And one of the things we talk about is building the excitement, having clear call to actions, and having a clearly defined launch process so that you can sell your trips better and faster. Can you tell me more about your target audience? My target audience is Black woman, age late 30s to 50s. Notice you can have typos. My clients like Mary Jane show, most likely. They also like fine wine. They like to use the word bougie. They like the finer things in life. So again, you will find out more from your clients. Just ask them. Find out why. On your evaluations, your feedback forms, ask them specifically how they found you so you can find out what you need to do better on that to get more clients, and then also what they need. Are there any specific features or selling points? Yes, we stay at Myconian Kaima on the Mykonos portion of the trip. And this hotel is a luxury hotel of the world partner. And clients get a $100 room credit and private pools. Okay. And let's see how many more questions. Next question. Do you have any testimonials? Yes. And I'll just paste in a testimonial. Said this is the best trip of her life. So as you can see, you can load in all your data when you start. Here's my testimonials. Here's my products. Here's this. Here's that. When you add all that stuff to train it, then, whoops. When you add all that stuff to train it, then you can ask it to write your emails. Looks like I'm getting kicked out. Give me a second. There we go. Okay, so now we got our updated emails, and you can see they're a lot more detailed, and it's going to have an updated call to action, and we've got our pretty emojis. So this is very, very rich content. Now, for those of you that use Gemini, you obviously could use Gemini, and Gemini has a super cool function. You can download this to like documents and spreadsheets and things like that. I typically prefer ChatGPT over, but you certainly can use either or. I'm going to pause a second to see if there's any questions about this. Let's see the Q&A. Do we need to purchase ChatGPT or does this work? So it does work with any version of ChatGPT. However, I will say the way that I was able to paste the website, if you're on a lower version or unpaid, it may not read that much data. On the paid version, it does read all the data. All right. So next thing is any more questions on email, let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we've got our email sequences. Now let's talk about blog writing. So let's say based on this Greece trip, I want to build a blog. So let's first say, as an expert in SEO and blog writing, give me a list of blog posts I can write for this trip. Now, if you don't know about SEO, basically what that means is when people are going online and they're looking for a trip to Greece, a luxury trip, or with a trip that's a shopping trip to Greece, they're going to type that in Google. SEO is going to look for content on the web that contains certain sentences, certain keywords. By building blogs on your website, you're going to pull those people that are searching on the internet to your web page. So that's why the blogs will be very, very powerful. Early on, we built a lot of blogs, and we're in the process of doing more blogs. But when we first started, we had a lot of different blogs. We did multiple posts a week so that we can gain SEO and we can attract more people to our website. So now we have a list of blogs. Getting a blog post used to be extremely difficult. Now we have a whole list. Okay, they're giving us all these ideas. So from here, what I can do is have it actually write the blog for me. And I'll show you the one thing you need to do. So first thing I'm going to write is I'm going to write blog post 1. So write out blog post 1. And I'm going to do it in 500 words and ensure it will pass an AI detector and incorporate my story about Greece below. So what you want to do is when you're generating, especially blog content, you definitely want to share personal stories so those stories can be incorporated. Once you introduce these personal stories, it's not going to flag as AI. It's also going to come across as very generic. So one of my personal stories is that my favorite part of Mykonos is the beach club. I haven't experienced service like it anywhere in the world. Santana is one of my favorite beach clubs, super high end. And when you're dining there, they serve things family style and they plate each person. People dance on the table. It's the perfect way to start your day with white wine and a fruit platter. I would also suggest adding in anything else that you like in each location. So I can say, like, I truly love the history in Athens. Most people who go to school in the United States learn about the deep history. So going to the Acropolis is just so magical. And add anything else that you like. So once you add those personal stories, it's literally going to write the blog post for you and incorporate your personal stories. Now, like I told you earlier, when you're using AI, this isn't one way. So now that we have this sample blog post, we then can ask it to edit and tweak and incorporate more stories. So you can see it's adding, one of my personal highlights is visiting the Acropolis. So see how immediately this is a personalized story. We're talking about Mykonos. We're talking about Santana. It was not that much effort to do this, okay? How many people are now writing blog posts on their website? Okay. If you learned something new just now, type wow or whoa in the chat. Give me a wow, give me a whoa in the chat if you learned something new just now. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is tone when you are creating content in ChatGPT. So this tone can come across as very professional. You may not like this tone. What if I wanted to revise this tone? So revise the tone of this blog post to Black pop culture. Now, when you think about tone, you can actually say, I'd like you to rewrite this in the tone of Oprah, in the tone of Cardi B, in the tone of Black pop culture. So as you can see now, it's changing it slightly so that it has a different type of tone that will speak to your travelers. We also could feed it sample website text and things like that to change it. So now if I change this to the tone of Oprah, you can see how this will be slightly different. Hello, friends. If you've ever dreamed of combining rich history, blah, 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 Athens. So you see how now it's changing it? And we can have it change to the tone of Claire Soares based on my transcript, okay? The more you give ChatGPT for examples, the better it's going to be, okay? Give me a 1 in the chat if you got that. Give me a 1. Fantastic, fantastic. I hope this is blowing your mind. This blew my mind when I found out. So now that we have this, you see how it's revising it again, and now it's writing it in the tone of Claire. Now, how can you get it to channel yourself more, talk more, feed more transcripts, right? So one of the things I recommend, so we just went through emails for Greece, blog posts for Greece. And before I get off track, because I can get off track, start talking about a lot of stuff. Let me talk about, so we got our emails to sell our trip. We got our blog posts. What about a thank you email? So write me a thank you email for this Greece trip. Now, what I think about this is actually pretty cool. So look what it says. It's giving them a thank you email. It's pointing out what's already in the trip. It's already given the Up in the Air Life hashtag that was on the website. All that stuff is already in there. Now, if I say rewrite this email using best practices. If you're not sure what to do about something, you can ask it to use best practices or, look at it as a certain person, and then it'll tell you exactly what it's adding. So now it's saying, oh, well, you can use this, you can use that, you can highlight experiences, you can have a personal tone. So it's literally like a consultant to help you get this better, okay? So now I can say, update the email to ensure clients understand what is included and what is not included. Listen, whatever you're selling, if you want to win those PayPal disputes, you better make sure your confirmation emails are crystal clear. What is included and what is not included. The best way to do that is by having that on your email confirmation. Now, you may be asking, how in the world did it know what to do? Well, remember, let's go back to my grease strip on our website. On our website, we have a summary of the trip, okay? We also have the trip dates. We also have a summary of the location in our tone, which is like a Black Girl Magic tone. And then we talk about where they're going to go, what they're going to do, where you'll stay. And then if we keep going down, we go through the full itinerary of the trip. And at the bottom, we actually have on the website what is included and what is not. So because we told ChatGPT this information by pasting it in there, it wrote the whole thank you email. And I just realized I don't think you guys saw the whole thing. So let me share my whole screen again so you guys can see that. All right, so I'm going to share my whole window and I'll go back. So this is our website again. On our website, this is all of our products. So whether you're selling boxes or trips, this has the trip information, 9-day luxury trip. Here's the dates. Here's a summary of what we're doing. Here's our trip, where we're going, what we're going to do, and where we're going to stay. Now, it also has the itinerary of the trip. So earlier, one of the first things we did was we pasted all this information into ChatGPT. That's how it wrote all my emails. It's based off of what I already said was in the product. And at the bottom of this page, it has what's included, what's not included. That's how it easily generated the whole email. Okay? If you don't want to lose any more of those chargebacks, I'm telling you, this is what you need to add. And I would also feed it your terms and conditions and have it update this and make sure that also prints in those emails. Give me a 5. If that's a winner, give me a 5. All right. So next thing while we're on it. So I just showed you my website. Now I'm going to show you something that I think is going to blow your mind, but we'll see. Let's say that I wanted to open up a new trip, right? I want to do a new trip to, let's say, tell me a destination you'd like to go to in the chat. Let's see. Tell me a destination you want me to plan a trip to, and I'm going to show you how I can quickly plan add a new product to my suite of trips. Someone tell me in the chat, give me any destination you want, and I'm going to show it. Fiji, bet, let's go. All right, cool. So I'm going to ask it, please write a web page like the one I shared for Greece for a new trip to Fiji. And now it is rewriting the Fiji page. Now, I'm going to show you how cool this is. If you look at the format of the Up in Your Life webpage, it has trip name, cities. Let's go to Fiji. It's building the whole trip to me. We going to Nadi, Yasawa Islands. Welcome to Fiji. It's got dates for me. It's got the airports. And look at what it's writing. So our next question, our next session, we always say, do you hear that? That's the sound of blah, blah, blah. But it's rewriting it for Fiji. It's the gentle sounds of waves lapping against the shore, the ruffle of palm trees, and traditional Fijian music. I will let you know we spent over $6,000 plus paying a professional copywriter to write our trip pages. Well, guess what? Now with AI, I can use that same tone, that same writing style, priceless moments with new friends. Look at it, where you'll go, what you'll do, what you'll stay. All that was written in 2 seconds. Now, this may not be the correct itinerary for Fiji that we're rocking with, but you see how in a couple seconds, I got a draft that I can work with. Give me a 0 in the chat if this just blew your mind. It wrote the entire page, suggested itinerary for you. I would then take this, I would do my research. I would personally go to Fiji, but if I couldn't go before the trip, write as much as you can, do as much research. But here you got your draft sales page. Give me a 0 in the chat if this just blew your mind. Wow, said Rashid, wowzers. So you can launch faster. You can create faster. Now, obviously, I don't know a way to create all your brochures fast, but I can tell you don't necessarily need a brochure to sell is what I tell my mentees in my program. But now we've built out, let's see what we did so far. We did our email sequences for Greece. We did a website copy. And then now we created a whole new product based on existing styles. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you is Instagram. So now we need to sell. For a lot of people, we're selling on Instagram. So we may need help with creating Instagram content. So I got a prompt for you. You're an Instagram expert using the Claire method. I need you to create 10 captivating posts using NLP. Remember, we want to tell people, we're not going to say we're going to a hotel. Imagine you're at this beautiful hotel, and when you walk in, we're going to hand you a glass of champagne. When you say it like that, people have reading the email, but their mind is creating an image and putting themselves on the trip. Okay. Then ask additional questions one at a time to yield the best creative post with a long caption, photo suggestion, and hashtags. It doesn't need any more information. See how it's giving me all these suggested captions for my post. Now, remember, in the Claire method, we need to refine this. So it's giving us all of our posts. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a data girl. I like my stuff on spreadsheets. So I'm going to tell that, you know what? I need you to update these posts into a table and add a column for a suggested hook. Oh, now it's asking me more questions, but I'm just going to reformat it for now. So now, did you know that? Did you know you can have it reformat data for you? I'm going to give y'all a second to marinate. Did you know that? Yes or no? Drop it in the chat. Did you know you can have ChatGPT format data for you? So now it's creating the whole table. Sunset lovers, this one's for you. Picture yourself, blah, 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 blah. Now, if you're like me, I realize most posts that are this or that tend to have more engagement. So give me a second version with a this or that style of post. Because a lot of times if you say this or that, people will often go and they'll actually interact with your content quicker just because it's not a quick question. If you ask people a long, drawn-out question on social media, they'll probably scroll, especially if they're on their lunch break or they're just like going and scrolling. So now we have even more information. Would you prefer dancing on tables at Santana and Mykonos or sailing the sunset in Santorini? Now, this type of content can actually be used for Instagram or Facebook. One thing that you want to think about is when you're creating your content, you want content where people are going to engage because that trains the algorithm to show your content more. Instagram they want people on their app 24/7. So if you're creating content that people are either watching your videos or they're either commenting more and staying on that post, they're going to show your content more. You may have noticed that your interaction has dropped over the last year or so, and that's because they are prioritizing paid content. So by giving your users and your clients posts that are easy to engage with, it really is going to improve you being suggested in the algorithm. All right. So I see some more questions. Let me answer them. Can you do the same with AI and Meta AI? So I actually have not spent a lot of time with Meta. With Gemini, you can. I've spent the bulk of my training and I'm in the process of getting AI certified as we speak. I do most of my stuff in ChatGPT with extensions. And can you make use of LinkedIn more? Yes. I will try to I'll talk about LinkedIn on the VIP session a little bit more with that. All right, so we have that done. Next thing we want to do is if we want to do Facebook posts, same thing. We can just say you are a Facebook group expert and engagement. Create a series of this or that post for my Greece. I'll just say create a series of engaging posts. Post with a question for my Facebook group. All right. So in Facebook, when you think about the different platforms, it's also important to think about the fact that different platforms are for different things. For Instagram, you might want to have a call to action, which is call to action is a CTA if you didn't know. Every time you have some type of post, you definitely want to have like a call to action, like double tap this, tag your friends, or, comment XYZ. So we have our different posts for our Facebook group. Facebook typically is going to be for engagement. People, especially older people like myself, we go on Facebook to have long, drawn out conversations. So this is a great way to ask people a question. What are you looking forward to when you go to Greece? Keep in mind, some of these questions, when you download these, you do need to tweak it. So it's saying, this is for someone going on the trip. But if you're in your Facebook group, you want everyone to engage. So you want to make your questions more generic. So we can say, update these posts to be on a table, because I'm a table girl. Also update it so the questions are generic so anyone can answer. The Facebook group includes clients and prospects. Got it. So now it's going to update, put everything in a nice table. If you are using Gemini, you will get a button to click and it's going to drop it to a table. I personally still like the results of ChatGPT over Gemini personally. So that's my thing. All right. So we have gone through Facebook. Now, as a bonus, what if I wanted to get a list of vendors? So can you give me a list of vendors I can work with for my product name? So this is a Greece trip. And now it's going to scour all the information and give me a list of vendors. Pretty cool. Transportation vendors, tour and activity vendors. Wow. Give me a 22 in the chat. That's my birthday, June 22nd. Give me a 22 in the chat if you are wild. If you didn't know you could do this, let me know. And now I can format this into a table. And I can use this data to then source my vendors. Drop me a 22 in the chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. How many of you guys are actually using ChatGPT now? Are you using it for any of these ways that we talked about? Or tell me what you learned new today so far. All right. So now we got a list of vendors. We got emails. Obviously, you need to double check because sometimes their information is not correct. But again, now we have some clear information, again, based on this whole chat. Now, I got to move on to SOPs, but I'm just going to tease you because I am going to do another webinar. But let's say you want to build a launch plan. You can ask it, build a launch plan for my trip, for this trip based on a 7-day launch plan. And then after you get that launch plan, you then can have it build you an entire email sequence for each day of your launch. And you can go even further by posting sales goals, consult with it more. But you see how all this information is all built out for you. Convert this to a table. So hopefully this is getting your brain thinking about what you can do for your launches to have better launches, to have more stickiness. Stickiness is like more engagements with your clients. And then you can also ask it for more ideas for engaging clues and things like that that will actually keep your clients excited, or promotions. All right, I got to move on to SOPs. So let's talk about that. As a luxury travel company, I need you to give me a list of SOPs. Before I do that, I do want to show you. So SOPs, you may be wondering, well, if you don't know what they are standard operating procedures. Here's a snapshot of our internal database of SOPs. So SOPs is where everyone who works for me, they can see our vision, our company tenets, our goals. They can see our policies. They can see our guidelines, our company card information, our workflow. And then each team has a page. So if we are working in group travel, we have a list of SOPs that they can look at that gives them instructions on how they do something. How do you order flowers for a client? All the details are in here so that when you hire new people, you don't have to retrain them. All of our SOPs are in Notion. Now, I mentioned earlier how there is an Ask AI feature in Notion. Once you have your SOPs and your trip information, we have all of our trip information. Every single trip has a back-end web page with all the details of the trip, all the trip itineraries. And so once you have that in Notion, they have a new feature in beta called Ask AI. My next webinar is going to teach you how to use this. I'll just give you a teaser. Let's say I'm a new person and I don't know how to order flowers, and it's my second day. How do I order a client flowers? I can type that in here, and the AI will only look at our processes and tell someone how to do it. To order flowers, you can use the 1-800-Flowers website, browse, include the client's postal code, found, and keep, and select one within $50, $75. Choose the size. So you see how it is answering the question, and then it also lists the different SOPs. Now, take this further. I got an email from a client who wants a refund. Can you draft me an email response to the client? Now, if you type that in ChatGPT, it's going to check, it's going to actually make up an answer, but in Notion, it's actually going to check the policy. And I can say, base the email off our terms and conditions. So now it's going to check for the refund policy that you have in the canned responses. So now it's writing the response based on our process. And to take this further, let's say a client asks, which trips are left for 2024? Give me a list of the trips based on the, give me a list of the trips in September of 2024. So now, again, it's going to look at your itineraries. It's going to look at the data that you have saved in Notion, and then it's going to write the email. So you see how this is tremendously powerful, that you can get all this detail without having to fully train someone. You can train them to use your wiki. So, all right, let's get back and let's see if there's any comments or questions. Phenomenal. All right. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back. As a luxury travel company, I need to develop all my SOPs. So you can ask ChatGPT for a list of SOPs. And once you have that list, just like the blog post, you can ask it then to write it. So I can also say, draft me an outline I can use in Notion for my wiki. And you can see it's building a comprehensive list of everything you need to do. Now, this can maybe overwhelm some people. So what I recommend, number one, is that when you're building out your SOPs, the easiest thing to do when you're building that out is to simply do a Zoom and walk through the SOP live and record yourself, okay? When you do that, what will happen is you'll get a transcript from Fireflies. I talked about Fireflies AI. I will make sure in the debrief from this session, I'll send you my link to Fireflies so you can download it. In Fireflies, it will literally snapshot the transcript from your meeting. So this is a meeting that I had with someone who worked for me that I was explaining to them how Calendly worked. So once I have this transcript, what I can do is I can copy this transcript, and then I also can ask it to create an SOP using best practices based on this transcript. All right. So now it's going to read through my whole transcript and give me my SOP in like 2 seconds. So this was an SOP. I had a meeting with her to talk about how you schedule client calls and internal calls. So you see how it's basically using all the data that you gave verbally to create your SOPs. So thank you so much for attending today. I'm going to go through a couple more things and then we're going to wrap up. And now I'm going to share with you my presentation. Give me 1 second. All right, so everyone should, let me stop sharing and reshare my presentation for you. Fantastic. Okay, so we have gone through how to create, so congratulations, first of all. We made it through. You guys went through the super brain of AI, and I showed you how to use your data to create email sequences, website copy, new product pages, Instagram, Facebook posts. And I also went through how to use Notion as a teaser and also how to build SOPs. If you want to work with me further and you are a travel advisor, I have opened up the Luxury Travel Advisor Academy. It is a game changer. It is a program that essentially works with you step by step, and it teaches you how to build your trips, make them profitable, and then launch them. We go through 8 different modules. It includes a community, live coaching calls with me, and our program is basically fueled by AI. So I teach you fundamentals, and then I also teach you how to leverage AI, because I know a lot of times we don't have $10,000 to drop on a new website or pay someone. So that's what my program is teaching you, how to do more with less. Here's some reviews from people that I work with. Alma, who is currently finished the first course, is in the second course, has said, Claire is super smart, always on the latest in technology strategies that can incorporate your businesses. And if you're not a travel advisor, we have my business mentoring program. In my business mentoring program, you get all the content for sales and marketing that I teach in the Travel Academy. And you have one-on-one calls with me monthly. And last way to work with me is to shop my products. We have the AI prompt guide specifically for travel advisors, and we also have the digital travel guides. There is more to come. We are just getting started, so I really appreciate you all with joining. Please, Harvin, did everyone get kicked off? Go ahead and drop the link. For those of you that are in the VIP, we're going to be starting the VIP in 15 minutes. Harvin, drop the link if you'd like to join the Luxury Travel Advisor Academy. Harvin, can you also drop the link to people who'd like to add VIP and be on the private VIP session? That will start at 1:30 in 18 minutes, so we'll have a quick break. So thank you so much much for joining. Super excited to see you. This is the first webinar of many more to come. The VI registration link is below. If you're in the VIP upgrade, you do get the recording of the webinar. You'll also get all the prompts for today. And then we also have a private Q&A session that will start in 18 minutes. So thank you so much for joining. If you love the session today, please share with your followers. Please post on your Facebook page, Instagram, and tag me. I totally welcome and I love doing this. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to see you all today.